Hi, my name is Kara, and don't worry, I am wearing a shirt, it's just nude colored. And I have been knitting a bunch, and I am trying to do better about updating you guys as I go so that I don't get as overwhelmed. Unfortunately, it's been about a month and I have done a bunch of knitting. So I just had a photo shoot, which is why I have like the full makeup. Yeah, but I thought that I would just shoot a video too since I already have makeup on, and New York is starting to get kind of sweaty. It's about 70 degrees, and yeah, I'll show you guys the photos when I get them, but I might be kind of sweaty looking in them. I have basically been trying to spend the last like few weeks, month, just slowing down my knitting pace. I have slowed down the pace that I have been writing patterns at, so I only have like one test knit going right now. For a while it wasn't any, and it was actually really nice, just not having to worry about the deadlines and everything, and just kind of getting through all the content that I have stored, because I have a lot of content stored, and I finally had the timeline to show it to you guys without like feeling pressure to create new stuff too. So I've just been taking some time to knit some of my older patterns and thinking about like, oh, like do I want to make like an ultralight version of this, or do I just want to knit this one for fun, like in just different yarn colors and types? Yeah, it's been really fun. And I'm also going to try to take the time to learn how to crochet. In my previous video, I showed you guys that I finally learned how to make a granny square, and we're still there. It's tricky because I get distracted by knitting, and knitting gets distracted by crocheting, and crocheting gets distracted by knitting, and back and forth and back and forth. But my goal for the summer is to make crochet pieces and just learn how to crochet, learn how to read patterns, maybe eventually write my own patterns. I probably won't be making my own patterns for a while for crochet, if at all, just because I have a ways to go for that. But yeah, I guess it's been about 2 months since I did one of these videos. Sorry, I don't know when I did one of these videos last. I guess I could look it up. I have a lot of sweaters to show you, so I might as well just get into it. Okay, we're just gonna go by what's on top of the pile. So I recently made an eye for an eyelet sweater, and it is in Sheen Fiber Melted Baby Suri in Held Double and Ametrine. I don't know what it's called, but it's this really cool like pink, red, rainbow speckled yarn. And I just thought to myself, hey, it's been a while since I made one of these, and I really like the pattern. It whips up really quickly, and I just kind of wanted to relax and knit something without having to think too much about like numbers and how I would like grade it and stuff. So I knit one of my own patterns, and I'm really happy that I did. I'm honestly tempted to make another one because I really like them. Maybe I'll make it in like a different size and then start selling them. I don't know. I just have a lot of yarn to get through, and my goal for the past month, and I have actually been successful at this, is to not buy any new yarn. Like if yarn companies, hint hint, want to just send me yarn, that's totally fine, but I have tried to not purchase any new yarn recently, and that's been working out. And it's kind of exciting to finally go through all this yarn that I've like held on to. Like I brought some yarn all the way back, or all the way from LA to New York, and I never ended up knitting with it, and now I am, because I'm forcing myself to knit with it by not purchasing any new yarn. Yeah. Anyways, eye for an eyelet sweater, really fun. I really love all the eyelets. I think that this is a fun way to bring knitting into the summer, because that's something that I'm also motivated by for crochet. I think it's better for the summer than knitting is. And one way to get around like the trickiness of like knitting in the summer is to knit with a bunch of eyelets and knit with really lightweight fluffy yarns. So here we are. Because this sweater is probably not one that I would wear in the winter because I don't think it would be very warm, but it might be something that I wear in the spring and the summer. Another thing that I've been trying to do is also finish up a bunch of whips that I had, just because I wanted to reclaim my window space, because what I do with my window ledges is I just put my whips there and they often just sit there for months. So I also finished my Something Good sweater here, and this was actually the second Something Good sweater that I ever casted on, and only maybe the 5th that I actually ever finished. 4th? Who knows? It's been a while. I only had one sleeve left for a really long time, and then I got kind of stressed about running out of yarn, and it's been months. So this is in Noro Kureyon. I don't know the colorway, but it's a really fun one. It's obviously more like fall toned because I'm pretty sure I started this in the fall. and I finished it in the spring. But this is already blocked, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's very Halloween-y, and it's just so season kind of inappropriate now, but you know what, I'm proud that I finally finished it, and I just was like, this will take me an hour to finish, let me just do this. It was not difficult, and you can see that I was a little bit stressed about cutting into yarn, because this is like a new skein here that I had to cast off with, and I was like, nope, don't want to do that, so then, yeah. And then I started the second sleeve with that same skein. And so what's really interesting about self-striping yarn is that like the striping changes when you're working on a top-down sweater. So the body stripes are much smaller because, you know, it takes more yardage to go around the entire way. But then once you just split for the sleeves and only work on the sleeves later, it's a lot less stitches, and so the yardage goes a lot further, so the stripes get a lot bigger. And that's just something that's really fun to play around with the self-striping yarn. It's definitely something that could bother like somebody that's like a perfectionist. Fortunately for me, I am not a perfectionist. Everything in my room is hung up crooked. And if I let those types of things bother me, life would be a lot harder, because I am not very good at hanging things up straight or just aligning things like sleeve stripes. Here is the Superlove sweater, and this one is blocked, and it's also inside out, lovely. And it's in Chink Fiber Melted Baby Suri and Gelateria held double, and this is how I started getting back into Chink Fiber Melted Baby Suri, because I was like, I have so many pretty colorways, why don't I just use them? And then I found this really cool stitch, and I am really happy with how it turned out. When you make the extra small, it actually only takes 4 skeins, and that's a lot, because this yarn is really hard to get your hands on because it always sells out, and there's a bunch of like local yarn stores that have it, but it does get pretty expensive, so I usually only make the extra small for myself, and I might make the sleeves a little bit short, but then with some blocking magic, I actually can make them long, and that's like the style that I like to wear. It's like super cropped, really long wide sleeves. I think that that's so cute and perfect for Melted Baby Suri. So this is the Superlove sweater. The pattern's already out, and I think that it's so perfect for spring, and I'm going to try to put this one off the top of the pile because I want to wear this to work at the very least because it's so cute. And it's the same thing where it's like a kind of a holey sweater, so it'll hopefully be nice when the weather starts to heat up. It definitely won't be appropriate when the weather starts to go like 80 degrees and like 100% humidity. But it will be appropriate when it's about 65 degrees and not too humid. I don't really know how New York works with its spring, summer vibes, but I'm hoping that summer won't be here too soon. Here is the Let It Happen sweater, and it's named after that Tame Impala song, and I really, really, really love that song right now. It's been stuck in my head. I've just been listening to it on repeat. It's like so fun. Really in a big Tame Impala mood right now. But yeah, I actually started this sweater. This is one of the sweaters that I had just sitting there. It was honestly just like the collar, and I like had this lovely like folded over twisted stitch collar, and I couldn't decide like what sweater to make, and like I knew that I wanted to make something new, and I had literally spent so much time like unraveling, knitting with this pattern. I don't know why, but I really didn't want to let go of the twisted stitch folded collar. Yeah, and I'm really happy that I stuck there with it because I really think that this lace stitch is so pretty. I honestly think that I did less baubles this past spring than I expected to. I want to do more. I definitely want to do a lovesick cardigan. So here's a lovesick sweater. I'll show a picture here. And I want to make a cardigan version of that because I think it'd be really cute for spring. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it together in time before the weather starts to heat up, but it'd be something to do for even the fall. So this is a Malabrigo chunky in the colorway natural. Unfortunately for me, I think I used like different dye lots because if you look at it in like some of the lighting, you can start to see like the different like stripings because I was just like using a bunch of this yarn that I had, and I had a bunch of like odds and ends from like different projects, and so I was just trying to get rid of them all. And I think I was knitting in the dark because I didn't notice that there was like a difference in the colors and like the difference in creams, off-whites. but hopefully it's not something that you can really notice. And maybe if I block it, it'll help clean it up. But who knows when I'll block this. Here is a classic. We have a Williamsburg sweater in Malabrigo, Rasta, and Almond Blossom. Really love this colorway. I think that somehow, I think Rasta honestly like photographs better than it does look in person. Not that it doesn't look great in person, but I think that it just looks really pretty on camera. I think it's able to just pick up the stitch definition in a way that the naked eye can't. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm really happy that I made this. This is another project that was just sitting on actually one of my shelves this time instead of my window ledge. And I had just finished the bottom ribbing of one of the panels, and I was like, yeah, that seems like enough. And I think what was delaying me, because I definitely had enough yarn for it to finish it all, but what was delaying me was the fact that I was like, oh, I should film this for a reel. And then I was like, oh, I'll just wait until it's daylight and the next day. Like, I just kept on pushing it off for like months, until I was finally like, okay, like, I should just do it. It won't take any time, and I was in the mood for a super chunky project. And it scratched the itch that I wanted it to. I love Williamsburg sweaters. I think I'm gonna make a green one next, and it would be super season inappropriate, but the past few weeks it's been about like a high of like 60 degrees, and so it's been actually a really lovely temperature for super chunky knits. Just like wear like a tank top underneath, that's like my go-to. Yeah, and I've been really happy that I've had this sweater, but I think I want a green one, and I'm gonna keep that green one. Unless I get stressed about how much space all my knits are taking up and then I have to sell them all again. I don't know. I've started to think about moving, and I probably need to do a big yarn and sweater sale soon, but obviously I'm gonna procrastinate on that because that's just who I am. You guys have definitely seen this one. It's my Better Days sweater. It's in Wool Gang Take Care Mohair and Hip Knit Shop Fluff yarn in the brown. Sorry, there's some of my hairs on it. Is it mohair or is it my hair? Ha ha ha. It's usually my hair. I've been shedding a lot because I went really, really blonde. It's a little worrying, but I think I'm gonna get a pretty big haircut soon. My hair will still be long, but I'm probably gonna cut off like 6 to 7 inches. Yeah. Anyways, I really, really, really love this sweater. It's so fun. It's like warm but also airy. I'm hoping that I can wear this one more in the spring because I think it's really cute when you wear it with brown pants. Another sweater that I'm not entirely sure if it's season appropriate or not, but I'm going to try it anyways and just like wear a tank top underneath. And if I just like have to take off the sweater and just be like super sweaty, it is what it is. But I think it's like kind of fun when you like wear it across, like you tie it. It's kind of a really preppy look, and I honestly don't think that I make the sleeves long enough for that, but it's kind of cute. It's kind of weird. It's like a little animal is hugging you because it's so fluffy, but at one point I thought to myself that during the summer I should just go through all of my mohair stash because, again, it's nice and fluffy, it's a nice lightweight sweater, I have a bunch of mohair that I need to get through, and I think that mohair looks really, really pretty on super bulky needles, so on like a 15mm needles. And so the project will go quickly, so it'll help me with that, like that scratch, that itch again. And I'll go through my mohair, and I'll be knitting, but I won't be too sweaty. I'm trying to game all these things in a way that I haven't really done in the past. Like I used to design and knit a bunch of sweaters in like super bulky yarn during the summers, which wasn't the smartest thing for me to do, but I think that now that I'm in a less temperate climate, because California was just too good, I need to start gaming these things and start thinking about it more. And I actually have 2 sweaters to show you because I started this sweater months and months ago, and it's my borderline sweater, and it's my first attempt at designing with short rows, and it's just like a really lovely boxy mock neck sweater, and I'm really excited to have it for the spring. I really like this like seam detail here, and it just whips up really quickly. But I started it and I like finished all the short rows, and then when I was working on like the front panels and the back panels, I was like and I let it sit on my window ledge for months and months. And so unfortunately I was like, oh, I finished it, and I like, this is such a cute sweater, I should write a pattern, but I couldn't really remember what my steps were, and so I ended up knitting a second one. And this is in Sandnes Garn Coast Yarn, held double. It's in this lovely, lovely pink. And yeah, it's just like a really fun drop sleeve, mock neck, boxy sweater. It's super flattering. I made them cropped. Obviously, you don't have to. But the pattern for this one will be coming out this month, at the end of the month. Yeah, it's one of the few examples. Like, I used to knit seconds for all of my patterns all the time. And then I came to realize that I just write so many patterns that I just don't have the space for all the sweaters, like to double the number of sweaters that I am making and storing and keeping, because I don't sell as many. I just thought that that was unreasonable, so I stopped doing that. I definitely want to get back into it. That's part of the reason why I'm a little hesitant on knitting a bunch of my old patterns, because I'm like, what do I do with them after? But I think that I can start to game it and just like knit in different yarns and different sizes and stuff, and hopefully sell some, just like, not even to like make a profit. It's more so that I can like knit, because I love knitting, obviously, get rid of some yarn and provide some joy and a cool sweater for somebody somewhere. This is my Nova sweater, and I really love the stitch. It's nice and holey. This is in Hip Knit Shop Hip Wool. So it's actually technically an Aran weight yarn, but I like how it worked up on these 8mm needles. I think that there's like a trade-off when you do like an Aran weight yarn with 8mm needles, or like you treat it like a bulky weight yarn, because on the one hand, it's like way lighter weight, but on the other, it's like, I feel like you just have to do more rows just to add more length. And it might be a little bit smaller than the bulky weight would be. For me, this yarn was gifted, and I was just really excited to work with it. It's, I think, a merino? I can't remember all of these yarn details. I have a pretty good head for all the yarn that I've used, and I actually haven't taken notes on like what yarn I've used for like all of my projects, but if you showed me a project that I did like 2 years ago and you asked me what yarn it was, I would be able to tell you what yarn it is. Because, I don't know, like, you just spend so much time on that project, like a few hours at the very least, so you're gonna be like, yeah, like, I remember what yarn it was. Yeah, and I got to wear this one when I was visiting MoMA last month with a friend, and it was really fun. It's just really cool to be able to wear your knits out in public and get witnessed by other people, and it's New York, so they don't often approach you about like where you got your sweater. I assume they want to know, but they don't always know that you made the sweater yourself, and that's okay. But it is cool to know that people are checking out your sweater. Here is the Nova vest. So it's the same stitch, but it's a little vest, and I think another strategy for the summer is to start knitting more vest and start writing more vest patterns. Of all my patterns are just sweater vest in general, because sleeves get hot, and if you just remove the sleeve portion, hopefully it'll cool things off. Maybe if I make like a cotton sweater vest, it won't be too hot. I don't know. I know that those are kind of trendy, especially with like Y2K fashion getting into trend, but we'll have to see, because for some reason I've never really vibed with sweater vests as much. I really like this sweater vest though. I worked to work, got compliments, but I just have never gotten into sweater vests, and I don't know why, because they're super cool, and at a certain point, almost all the sweaters that I've made have been sweater vest, because I have to add the sleeves, and like I've tried them on definitely before I add the sleeves, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cute. Almost never make them just sweater vests though. But this is in Hip Knit Shop Hip Wool as well, and also knit on 8mm needles. Highly recommend it. I probably want to make this one again, because I really like the colorway and everything, and I would just make this one again a little bit longer, because I think that the sweater vest with like a longer look is cute, and this one's pretty cropped, even after blocking. So I kind of want to make it again. Here is a modified Bennie sweater, and it's modified in that it's long sleeve, but I added cuffs to it. And so I did follow the regular Bennie sweater everywhere, even like the length of the sleeves and doing like the increases to make it like a bell sleeve. And at the end, I just did knit two together all the way around, and then I just did like 4 inches of 1x1 ribbing to give it a cuff. And it's like a really fun long sleeve look. It's super cute, really love it. It's in Sandnes Garn Borstet Alpakka in this really pretty like baby blue. I've been getting into this colorway. It's just a shade. I've been getting into this shade of blue more recently because I think it looks really pretty with my hair this light. And also because it's just a fun color for spring. I don't think I wear as much blue as I do green. I'm definitely going to keep on wearing green a bunch, but just to mix things up, I'm probably going to go more for this like cornflower blue. And also, like, I hadn't made a Bennie sweater in a while. I have another Bennie sweater to show you guys, but that one I'll explain in a second. Another Bennie sweater that I made. I think I started this one in the fall, hence the orange, and then I just never got around to it. It's the story of I finished the increases for the body, and then I was like, I'm bored, and so I never added that much more length to make it like a full sweater top, even though it was like probably like an inch more of stockinette that I just had to do. Yeah, I was sitting in my window ledge for months as well, and then I finally was like, let me just finish it, and I'll make it short sleeve to make my life a lot easier, because if I had had to add sleeves, it probably would have never been finished. But I started this one in the fall, and it took me a really long time to finish it, even though it was like an extra hour again of knitting, just mostly weaving in ends. Yeah. This is a Hip Knit Shop Hip Fluff yarn, though, and I really like the color. And I guess it's pretty appropriate for the spring and summer, but it just would have been more appropriate for the fall. I'll probably start making more Bennie sweaters because they're appropriate for the weather and they're nice and easy and breezy, and it's kind of fun where that's like sort of see-through. That's like the style now. I think there's a lot of like fun see-through shirts and you just wear like a cute bralette underneath. So you'll probably see more of these, but I can't promise you anything. At the very least, I finished this whip that's been months and months in the making. I have a Skye sweater for you, washed and blocked, and it's also Noro Ido. And I just really like these skeins of yarn to make like reverse stockinette because it's so fun with like these sleeves and all the different stripes and such. Yeah, I think I showed you guys something very similar last time where I made the Skye sweater in another skein in another colorway of Noro Ido. I don't know which was my favorite. I honestly think the rainbow one, the other fully rainbow or the more blue toned rainbow one is my favorite, but this one's fun because it's more of like a red toned rainbow. Yeah, don't have much to say about this one other than like I've come to appreciate the beauty of blocking a lot, especially when you have a limited amount of yarn. You can just make your sleeves kind of short, like they don't quite reach your wrist, and so if you didn't block it, it'd be like way too short sleeves, like weird like 3/4 cuffs, which I've definitely been guilty of before, but after you block it, nice and long and pretty. Yeah, I don't block all my knits now. I was just throwing it to the pile. I realized that I usually don't get it on camera. I don't usually block my knits now, but I've come to appreciate it when running out of yarn. Here is my Pasadena sweater, and this is the super bulky version. It's in Wool & Gang Crazy Sexy Wool in ivory white. Really fun, long collar. I think I told you guys last time that I've just been obsessed with this shape of sweater with like the long collar and the V-neck. That was still true as of a month ago. I just finished another sweater similar to it this morning. Yeah, I also made a light version of it. I'm pretty happy with it. I wish that I could wear it more, but it's going to be kind of hot for it. But I have also blocked this one, and it took days and days and days for it to dry. And I actually figured out a trick where I can hang up the blocking mat with the wet sweater on it on like the side of the wall. I can lean it against the wall so it doesn't take up so much floor space. But then it causes all the water to go to the bottom and like start dripping and pooling, so you have to put towels underneath it. I realized that when I was like, what's that dripping noise? And it was the sweater, because all the water had been pooling at the bottom and like making a mess on my floor. Here is one of my favorite makes in a long time. I ended up wearing it like 3 days in a row because I was so excited about it. It's my Pasadena Sweater Lite. It's in Sandnes Garn Coast in sunny lime green, I don't know, it's that perfect Grinch color. I obviously love it. It's chartreuse. It's really lovely with the cabling, and this is actually post-blocking because I don't know why I blocked this one. I had enough yarn for the sleeves. I don't know, I think I just blocked it just because this was in my blocking all my knits era. I was doing a bunch of blocking, like would finish a sweater, block it immediately, then as soon as that sweater was dry, I would flip it out for another one, just a continuous cycle. Like, there was always something on my mat drying, and that's not true anymore. Don't know why. Just haven't been in the mood for it. And also, I think it's because I think all the yarn has been getting stuck in the sink, so it's been draining kind of slowly, and I've just been procrastinating on unclogging it. That might be too much TMI. Pretty sure it's yarn lint, though, and maybe some hair. Everybody has sinks. But somehow that feels like TMI. Anyways, this is one of my favorite sweaters in a while, especially of the season, because it's like my favorite color. It's super flattering, and it just goes with a lot of outfits. Yeah, really happy that I wore this. This is one of the sweaters where like I wore this out in public and I got a lot of like looks because my sweater was cute. Here is the Little Things sweater, ultralight in Wool in the Gang, the one merino in Eucalyptus green. It took me forever because I really like the stitch. It's all like knit stitches basically, besides like the ribbing, but it still just took me forever because I am used to the instant gratification of bulky weight yarn and going to an Aran weight yarn and just having to do a bunch of stitches, which driving me crazy. And yeah. But be proud, I finished it. It took me like a month or two, but I did. And I think that the stitch looks really pretty with this Aran weight. It's a little more subtle. It looks more store-bought, which is a good and a bad thing because it's not as obvious to people that you don't know you that you made this sweater, but on the other hand, it's like very professional looking. One of my strategies for this summer to just slow down my pace of making is to work more with lighter weight yarns because they do take a lot more stitching. But on the other hand, I don't know if I have the patience for that. But I do want to go through and make ultralight versions, as in like using Aran or worsted weight yarns and 5mm needles for a bunch of my old patterns. It'll just take some time, and I'll probably just have to like motivate myself with like super bulky weight projects in between just to keep that instant gratification or like some level of satisfaction going, because otherwise I'll just get frustrated with like I'm knitting forever and I'm not finishing anything. And it is about the journey. You don't have to finish a bunch of sweaters, but I'm also a very impatient person. Here is the Florence sweater, and the pattern will be out at the end of the month. It's in Chain Fiber Melted Baby Surrey in Wolpertinger. I don't know. But this is one of the yarns that I actually brought all the way from LA. So I had it at Stanford, brought it back to LA, kept it in LA, moved to New York with it, and then took me a few months, but I finally ended up using it. And obviously it's held double. It's this really lovely, like, soft rose with hints of, like, blues and greens and, like, mauves. It's just a really pretty colorway, and I really like it. I found this really cool bridge out by the Jackie O Reservoir up in Central Park. And it's like with the rust and the paint, it looks very similar. And I'll show you guys the picture because I'm very proud of this photo shoot because here. Yes, another cropped wide long sleeve sweater. I have a few of them. I have at least one more to show you. So the other one that I'm going to show you is the Blink of an Eyelet sweater, also in Chain Fiber Melted Baby Surrey. This one's in Cuttlefish, held double. Yeah, I realized that it's actually really similar to a sweater that I was working on over the summer that I actually left behind in LA, and if I remember to, will grab when I'm there, but I think that it might be one of my favorite colorways of Melted Baby Surrey because it's rainbow purple. And it's just so pretty. I don't really wear that much purple, but this is definitely one of my favorite colorways. This is part of my going back through old patterns and just knitting and let me tell you, it is so nice to just be able to knit and follow my own pattern and not have to think about writing new things. Again, scratches the itch. I'm knitting, I'm doing something with my hands. I am going through yarn without buying any new yarn. And I'm just making fun sweaters for myself. Another good spring photo. It looks really pretty with my hair. Maybe it makes it yellow, but I think it looks nice. You don't have to agree, but I think it looks nice. This one I finished really recently. It's the Matilda Cardigan Lite. And I actually didn't get to show you my Matilda cardigan, but I wrote and released an entire super bulky pattern with the mock fisherman's rib, and then I finally got around to making the light version. Funny story is that I actually started this one in November and never got around to finishing it. And I wanted to make a mock fisherman's rib cardigan, and I was like, oh, like I could finish out this one here, and this is a Malabrigo Mecha in the colorway Tereza, but it was taking me forever. And so what I did was I made it in Wool in the Gang Crazy Sexy Wool and Paradise Orange, and it took me like a few hours, and I was super happy with it. And I actually ended up destashing it, is that the right word? Decluttering it. I ended up selling it to somebody who I think will really like it. But I finally got around to finishing this sweater, and I just really love this stitch. It looks so pretty on camera. I think that's the thing. Malabrigo yarns look really great on camera. Great stitch definition. But I will say that I don't really like to work with Mecha because they say that it's a bulky weight yarn, but it feels like an Aran weight yarn in a way that, like, because it's superwash, it goes in a lot, and so you don't get like the big wide sleeves of what you want. And I like big wide sleeves. And so it just doesn't have the same like body as like other yarns that I like to work with. Really pretty colorways, but I probably won't be buying as much Mecha in the future just because I get pretty frustrated with it. But yeah, this one took me months to make as well, at least since November. But then when I picked it back up again, I was like, I was motivated, and I finished it in a few days. It took me a while because it's Mecha, but it got done. So here is my last make for you, and I actually finished it literally this morning in time for the photo shoot. I was pretty stressed about it. I just sat down, watched a movie this morning, and whipped out 2 sleeves. I was kind of stressed about making the time, but I did it. So here is my Matilda cardigan, or sorry, my Matilda Sweater Lite. And it's in Wool in the Gang, Alpachino Merino, and Lilac Punch. It's like a new colorway. It's really pretty. It's not my favorite shade of lavender or purple. I think I usually like a more cool toned purple, but it's a really fun one at least. It's something new to try, and I just wanted to knit a fun sweater with it. So yeah, this is the Matilda Sweater Lite. I'm not sure if I'll make a super bulky weight version of the Matilda sweater anytime soon because it's weather inappropriate. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make it in Lilac Powder and Crazy Sexy Wool because that's a really pretty one. Depends. I'll probably need an instant gratification project soon, and I'll make one of those. Because I've been working with too much bulky weight recently, and like Aran weight. It's been taking me forever, so I think it's almost time for me to work on a super bulky weight project. But yeah, look at the sleeves of this one. Nice and wide and really pretty. Versus the Mecha. It's the same number of stitches, or it's only a few different, and it's just like a crazy difference. Especially when it's worn. So I definitely prefer like the more bodied weight yarn, the more bodied yarn, the fuller yarn, to the skinnier yarn. Because I just like that look more. Maybe you're different, but that's what I have a personal preference for. There was so much talking. I'm tired. But we're done. I updated you guys on what I've been making. I'm so glad if you watched all of this. Thank you for sticking with me. I've done a lot of knitting. Expect even more in the future. Maybe even some crocheting because I've been telling myself I'm going to crochet, and I think I will this time. I'm pretty sure that I'll start to learn how to crochet. mostly motivated by the weather. I have some really cool cotton yarn underneath my chair right now that I want to work up the energy to work with, but first I have to get good at crochet. I don't have to do that first, but I don't even know if like crocheting with cotton is gonna be fun for me. I definitely don't like knitting with cotton, but hopefully crocheting with cotton will be a different story. But thank you so much for watching and supporting me and my patterns. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day and happy knitting.